Good morning, everybody. We are live. Yeah. Oh, hello. Hello, Trepimir. It's going great. I'm a little bit low on coffee. I just got my first coffee here. So, how are you guys going? It's an early morning. When it's weekend, like 10 a.m., it's early, so. Okay. So today we are starting. Oh, you don't see because of my camera. Just give me a second. Oh, this is better. So today we will be doing exercise creating Pokemon list, and there. So I will make I will code for like an hour and 50 minutes or so, and then last 15 minutes I will just write out the rest of the app, how it should work, and it will be probably for you. It will be probably good for you to finish that. So at this point, we went through a lot of syntax of JavaScript, a lot of different methods and functions, and different types of objects and so on, types, objects, arrays, and so on. So the next week will be actually about some advanced stuff that is also needed to understand like front-end programming to the fullest. So I haven't made any lectures, at least scheduled any lectures after the next week, but there will be more. I will update that and I will post it on Slack. So with this exercise, you actually, if you know like how to write the code in Pokemon list, you're actually above novice level. So what you need to do to hone your skills to the max is actually start to code on your own and try to write something that you like. What you want to create, a simple website, something. In the future also we will make advanced CSS lectures, so something about Flex and so on, responsive websites and so on. I would really advise you to start working on your own and trying to build your own websites or apps. So make Digimon list. Problem with Digimons, there are like less Digimons at this moment than Pokemons. So Pokemons are better for this kind of exercises. And also Digimons are really strange about their evolution, or how they're called, if I remember correctly. I wasn't a big fan of Digimons when I was a kid. It's kind of hard to. They didn't have numbers. They're just randomly, um, yeah, they're scattered around. So yeah, if you have any questions about your own of your own coding or your own websites or web app, you can just ask me in Slack when I'm not online. If I'm online, you can, or live, you can always ping me here. So okay, so let's see what I have done. I posted the link. Oh, for practicing, yeah, sure. So making anything you can, it's great. I will help you if you have any questions about that, or if you want me to help you code something. Yeah. That's a good idea. I thought you, why don't we make Digimon list? Okay. Okay, so what have I done? So these are 809 Pokemon here. You can try it. I'll link it in the chat. this the web app. So as you can see, there is the picture of the Pokemon, name of the Pokemon, English name, and if you can see, the background of behind every picture is actually the type or types of the Pokemon. So Squirtle is water-based Pokemon, so it's blue. Raticate is normal, and it's some normal color. And like Raichu or Pikachu are electric, so they're yellow. Zubat is like flying and poison, if I remember correctly, so it's like half and half. Also, there is a search function. So if I say, I don't know, I want... it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? What's the problem? Can't read property undefined. Oh, great. I have broken it somehow. Great. We'll fix it. Script.js is empty. What? Oh yeah, if you pulled it from the master, it is empty. This one is just on production. I think I broke something, so let me try to open it locally, the solution. There are some problems with deploying, so I had some problems with deploying. Let me try here. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't matter. We'll fix it while programming. So I had some problems with deploying it, as it seems I have also some problems with... Okay, that's great. That's a weekend thing. Something doesn't work on weekends. It's fine. Yeah, maybe I pushed something or I built it in some wrong way. Yeah, yesterday it worked perfectly, so I did something that I don't know what. Yeah, and like, yeah, late in the evening. So okay, when you click on each Pokemon, it actually shows your details about that Pokemon and their stats and so on. So yeah, it's working okay. The search function is not working. We will fix that while writing today's code. So if you can see, there are like 3. So yeah, oh man. So I did a lot of deploying like during weekends and so on, and they're always such a bad idea. Oh man, that's... yeah, let me get my picture here. That's such a bad idea. I can't like say how bad idea. I spent like multiple times like whole weekend debugging stuff like alone. Yeah, great ideas from the management team from one company that I worked in. Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. So there are 3 different three different features in this app. So the first one is actually the whole list, and we will probably make this list like functional and working without any problems. The second feature is the search. That doesn't work at the moment, but we'll fix it. So when you like enter some string in there, like let's say sour, it should probably filter to Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. And after that, when you click on each Pokemon, it opens in a new HTML page with a query, Pokemon equals some number, and it shows the Pokemon that's on that number. So those are 3 different. So there is a lot of like eye candy in here. I had pushed my CSS, so we will not be going through CSS a lot. There are some things like this background, so that I will show you how to make, but the other things seem like straightforward. I think I shown everything. The only thing that like this code doesn't have is actually a reduce example. So everything else is in here in some way or other. Okay, so if you haven't done that, download the zip or just git pull. In the future, we'll have a git lecture also, but that's git is probably like more advanced than like novice level. So if you just a second to show you, if you click on every lecture here, you will see that this is there is a difficulty written here. So everything up to now about is a bit basic knowledge. I said arrays are novice. So there are difficulties like basic knowledge, novice, advanced, and so on. You can see we are starting into the novice territory. So basic knowledge is something that you can't program without, and novice is you can do some coding. You can program your own codes, but we will see how you can get more advanced and more how to get more and more knowledge. The problem now are more conceptual and not really how to write line of code. So okay, so we've seen there's 3 different features here. So let's start with Pokemon list with this part. So let's like write out all the Pokemons. If you open project, you will see I added something in there. So in data, there are some new colors here. So this is actually a color for each type of Pokemon. So we can make beautiful backgrounds. There's also base CSS. So this is some CSS. I think Danica Danica has talked about flex and so on. So just ignore it. There is a lot of like different just text setting and sizes and so on. We will go through this just to see what classes should we use to get it like design like okay, at least not terrible. Okay, then in index HTML there is nothing like strange. Script is where we will be writing our code. So data, we can get the color and Pokemon inside our script, colors and Pokemon. So let's do the first thing. Let's just console log Pokemon and let's go console log colors just to see if it works properly. Let's open it. This is not that site. We need to open the index.html from here, right? So let's close this and open our HTML page. So yeah, array and object. Yeah, it works fine. Okay. So what we need to do is actually we need to create our list of Pokemons. So we need to create an element for each Pokemon on our list. So let's try and do that. So if you remember, it's actually just you can use Pokemon for each. Our simplest for loop. If you have an array, we can just enter dot for each, and it works perfectly. So every time it goes, so for every item in array, some function here will be called. So we can say there is a p parameter. So actually, let's try just to console log p.name.english. What this does is just a fancy way of saying go through the Pokemon list and just console log their name in English. We can do this with map and with different ways of writing, but you can see there. So these are name of our Pokemon from Bulbasaur to Melmetal. Oh man. Okay. So what we actually need to do is we need to create an element inside of what we will put an image and some Pokemon name. So let's try to do that. That shouldn't be hard. So for every element, we will create another, for every item in array or every Pokemon, we will create an element and then another image element and another like div element that has their name inside of them. So let's do that. So const, let's say Pokemon element equals to document.create element. We can use a div. That's the Pokemon element. Then after that, we can create the Pokemon image element. Try to write this out with me. So this is actually a great exercise of writing this for like 500 times. 500 times time. Okay, so this is an image element, and after that we need an like name element, right? So const Pokemon name element. So a couple of students ask me like how to write faster or so on. There are no really like great exercises for your typing. You should probably just code a lot and you'll get you'll get better. So if you're looking a lot on your keyboard or something, you should probably get a keyboard that doesn't say anything on their keys, and you will not be looking at it. It's simple as this. So okay, let's say that Pokemon name element dot text content is equal to p.name English. As remember, each item will be inside of this p parameter here in the p variable, and after that we can just append those elements inside of Pokemon element. Pokemon name, no, Pokemon element, append child to Pokemon image element, and then append Pokemon name element. So a good question is where we put this. Oh yeah, sorry if it's loud a lot. I'm trying to filter the sound from my keyboard, but is too close to my microphone. I don't have like another filter around it. I will try to play around with my audio, but I don't think I'm good enough for create the filtering of my keyboard clicking. Okay. Yeah. So we should probably put somewhere inside of our index.html the element. So do not push inside the body like straight into body. A great advice is just to put a div in here and say it's ID app. So this way, let me paste it here. So this way we will push everything inside our app div. Yeah. Oh, maybe we can do it much better. So the problem in the future, we'll have a search box and we will have a wrapper. Oh, we have the list of Pokemon list, so maybe it's better to write maybe something like this. So we don't need to rewrite each time we change something. So this will, here we can put the wrapper, and here we can put the search box. This is like much better for our coding part, because we can push something in wrapper or append child inside the wrapper, then we can append child in search box, so we don't get like Like we won't have problems while appending child inside the app and then looking insert what we need to yeah, we should insert before what and so on. So this is much better way. So actually we will be then appending child to the wrapper element. So wrapper is pretty much standard language CSS when we have something that wraps another element. So our Pokemon list is actually wrapped with our div wrapper. And if you can see, we can actually really simply get our query selector. So get me ID app and then first child wrapper. So we can actually write it like this. So app first child class wrapper. And let's say just for now wrapper element dot append child Pokemon element. I will just try our code first and then I will go back and explain another time. So let's refresh this. Yeah, we got it. We got all the names of Pokemons, like just you can see here there is an image and there is a span and there you go to infinity. Yeah. So what happened here? We changed a little bit our index HTML. So we have inside our body an app div and with ID app. So why I used ID here? IDs, remember, are unique. So we can have like 2 app divs inside our HTML. And there are 2 different divs inside of those, one search box and a wrapper. So we can push like our pen child, our elements in there. And I'm out of coffee. Okay, so let's go through our script. So we are trying to create an element for each Pokemon in array. So for each Pokemon in array called P, so parameter P will become the Pokemon one. We will create a Pokemon element that's just a div. And inside of the Pokemon element, we'll put Pokemon image element and Pokemon name element, a span and an image. And we will push Pokemon name element dot text content. We'll push to the Pokemon element dot text content p name English, or we will set the value of Pokemon name element text content to p dot name dot English. After that, we will append a Pokemon image element, a Pokemon name element to the Pokemon element, and we will then append the Pokemon element to the wrapper element. And we have a giant list of names. That's like first step. Okay. So we need to get the image. If you open the images, they're actually called like 001.png. 559.png. So actually those are the IDs of the Pokemon. So what we can do here is actually just set our source of image. So let's first set the Pokemon image element alt to p.name.english. So why is the alt really important? So when you push something to alt, when a person that has their accessibility tools opened on their operating system, it will actually say the name of the Pokemon if you go over the image of that Pokemon. So that's really great because people that are that are not just blind, but they have some difficulties with seeing, or they will hear the Pokemon name. That's quite important, and accessibility is a big thing in at least today in coding websites, because your website needs to be accessible to everybody. There are a lot of tools that will help you to do that. So we will go in the future about that. That's quite important. So okay, That's an alt. So we need also the Pokemon image element.source to be set to our image. So let me start. So first thing what we need to do is /images to get in the images folder. Then we need something, then .png. So let's talk about that something. So what's the problem here? We can try with PID. Let's try it with this and we'll see some problems. So I wrote alt for pname English and I wrote source images /pid.png. So the problem here is actually that our first 100 Pokemon images are broken. Like this one is the first, like 99. Okay, they're not 100. Why? Because actually we need to put some zeros in before our ID so it works properly. We got images for every other Pokemon than first 100. So good thing there is something called petstart, and what petstart does is actually put something in before your string. So let's first so this is ID is a number. If we can double check in data, it's actually a number. So to transform anything to a string, it's actually just to string. I will share that. So in this way, we are transforming a number to string. And after that, what we need to do is actually use the petstart method. So let me go to the documentation, to the petstart, because I don't know by heart how petstart works. And let's see. Okay. So the petstart method pads the current string with another string multiple times if needed until the result string reaches the given length. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is pass some numbers of what are we needed. So this is like the length of our string, for future string, so for result string. If you want to have a string that is like 2 characters long, we will put 2 here. So we need to have it 3 character long, because if you check out, our images are like 001 PNG. So we will put 3 in here and we will pass 0. So if it's 1, it will become 001. Let us try that, right? So let us open the console, like clear this, and let's try to say let a 1 a pad start. There's also append end. We need treat for length and fill with this one. Yeah, it works fine. So what we did here is actually just padded our string with 2 zeros before the R1. So what we need to do here, you just write petstart 3 0. So there will be a lot of like methods or something that I haven't shown before or something. If you know the name of the methods, that's quite easy for search. If you don't know, just try to search your query in Google. There's a lot of results in there. Or just ask David, right, on Slack. I will probably know if it's possible to do something, and probably everything is possible to be done by programming. So let's try us the new one. So what we did here is actually transformed our ID to string and then pad started it to 3 characters length. Yeah, it works perfectly. Let's try it again. Yep. There's every Pokemon in here. So If you want to get my CSS, we can just open CSS. There's something called Pokemon here. And if we pass the Pokemon class to the Pokemon element, so let's do that. Pokemon? Oh no, we need to add Pokemon like this. If you try to do this and refresh them, actually the names here are white, so you don't see them, but they're here. You will get the beautiful like 5 or 6 Pokemons in a row. Like, yeah, depends on your size of the screen. So you can see here. So Danica will talk about this type of like CSS are called the Flex or Flex CSS. This type of design is used by is done by Flex CSS. So Danica will talk this in the future. For now on, what you need to do is add your Pokemon class list. So in a lot of like front-end coding, you will need to be able to implement your CSS, your design inside your front end. I also worked in a lot of companies that have like different people working on CSS and coding. It depends, but it's really good to know about CSS, because you maybe in the future maybe you'll be able to debug CSS, and that's crazy hard to do if you don't know CSS. So okay, I put the Pokemon class list, and what we can do is actually add a background to our Pokemon element, just so we can see our just so we can see our Pokemon names. And you can say black also. Let's say black, so we can see. Okay, beautiful. So here are our Pokemon, and there is a lot of them. Okay, we've done something. So this is already an okay Pokemon list. What we need to do more is actually create our backgrounds, right? So how to do that? Any ideas how to do that? Maybe somebody will have an idea before me, before I write this down. We can actually just write a function that will get the background. It will be written in our new lambda or array. Actually, if we pass type, so type is an array, we pass type to our function, and after that we can do, I don't know, if it's just one type, we can do like a monochromatic background, so just one color. And if it's not, we can create with 2 colors. I will show you how to do that. It's a CSS called linear gradient. So let us do the first thing first. So if there is only one type, pass the color of our type. If it's not, pass black. So the colors by type are defined here. Remember when I was talking about how you can access strings with, so let's say we have some string here. What we can do, like I0, we can get our like character by character. Similar thing is in objects. We have a person with name, name David. Let's put the surname more, surname Abram. we can call we can get them by calling person.name like this, but also we can get the something with by calling something like this. Why this helps a lot, this person and then pass a string in there? Because we can write something like this: const property name equals name, then person property name. We can get David because we got the value of a property name here, and then we call person brackets property name, and the value of property name will be name, and we will get the David property in here. So this is just another way of calling, maybe like a little bit more programmatically calling, because we can pass any value here. Yeah, it's pretty good. Oh, I think cat is scratching the door. I got distracted by a second. Okay, so why I have talked about that? Because we need to get our colors. Oh, we need to get colors. So you can see here the colors. We can call, I don't know, colors bug or colors grass, and you'll get back your color. So what we can do is actually call Pokemon, let's say 0.type. We get that our first Pokemon is grass and poison. We can go get 0 here. We'll get grass. Then we can call actually something like this. Pretty cool, right? So what we got here is actually get me the first Pokemon, get me their first type, and then get me a color from my colors object from that type, and we get a color here, at least a hexadecimal value of that color. So we can actually use this. We will change a little bit our so let me comment this. We will change a little bit, but what we can do here, let do for a test. It's like colors. We have a type. We don't have a Pokemon here, but let's say type 0. So what this will do? We will actually get the first type of color of our first type of that Pokemon. So let me just write here, get background of p.type. So we have a function here that returns the color of our first type, and this one calls that get background function with the p type of the Pokemon. Remember, type is actually an array. So we need to get our first item in array to get our first color of our first Pokemon type. Let me try to refresh this. Okay, so the problem is Bulbasaur is grass and poison, so it's not just grass type Pokemon. There are some like this is probably bug and flying, or this is bug and poison. I can remember properly, but there are a lot of those that have like 2 different types. So let's get back to our coding part. This is quite okay, but what we need is to test the type. If the type is length 1, or that means that has just 1 item in there, we should just give the type 0 color here. Or if it has multiple those, return black at this moment at least. If you remember the conditional tertiary statement, or how it's called, operator, conditional tertiary operator. Let me double check that. Conditional tertiary or ternary. Oh, it's called like this. Conditional ternary operator with that question mark, if you remember. I always forget how is this called. Like if it's ternary or ternary. Okay. It really doesn't matter. It's a way of writing if or anything conditional just in one line. So we can do if type.length equals to 1, then return colors type 0, and if not, return black. Okay, following? If you're not following or you need for me to go back to something, just say it. I'll return to it. Okay. So if the type length is equal to 1, return our first color of our first Pokemon type. If it's not, return black. So what we'll see here, the Pokemons that have two different types, like Bulbasaur, the background will become black. Let's refresh this. Yeah, it works. So every Pokemon with two types, their background is black at this moment. So let's inspect this. Let's open our Pokemon and come to here. So let's try and play around a little bit. There is something called linear gradient. So the linear gradient, what it does is actually you put two different colors in there, and it creates a gradient background bit or gradient color between those two colors, or gradient something, gradient image, gradient. It creates gradient, yeah. You can say it like that. So how to do that is actually just write background, linear gradient, and there is something like autocompleted here. So you can see here that it's a little bit different than the other ones. So it's called linear gradient, open the brackets, 45 degrees, black, transparent. So this 45 degrees is actually, you can say it like 90 degrees, and you can see like gradient starts like turned about 90 degrees. If you like create here and start like 0 degree, you will see like it starts at the bottom and goes to the top. 90 degrees is just 90 degrees rotated. Let's say not black transparent, but let's say red and blue to see what goes around here. So you can see it's a gradient. There's some mix of this of colors here, but we don't want to do that. We actually want it to have like really like the difference should be like clear. It shouldn't be like mixed to the purple one like here. So what we can do actually is just write until what point of our gradient there should be blue, and after what should be red. So we can actually write like 50% here, and then red 50% from 50%, yeah, like this. So we just say, okay, let me have blue 50% and red 50%. Yeah, it's quite easy to do this like this. And also how to make it like in my example. So it will have a half by diagonally. You can just write 45. Oops, not here, but here in the degree. Say 45. Cool. What you can also do is like say 135. So, or not 135. It will be 90, 135, 170. No, I can 135. Then 215. 220. Oh man, I can't do the math in the morning. So the blue one will be up in right top color, and the second one will be in the left bottom corner. Okay, 225 degrees. I can't do math in the morning, man. This just after one coffee, I can do math. It seems. Okay. Let's try to use this. So we know how to use this linear gradient. I will paste it right here. Let's try to write this out. So what we need to do is actually the linear gradient here. So for every black background should become linear gradient with 225 degrees here. And it shouldn't be blue and red. It should be actually the type colors. So again, first color is the 0 one. Right, let's write this out. And second one is here. And second one is with 1. Okay, let me paste you this one. So you can see this is just one line of code, and it's quite readable if you understand the syntax. So it says if type length is equal to 1, you create the colors type 0, so you return this part. If it's not, you return the linear gradient here. So you can rewrite that with if and like not an arrow function, but just ordinary function syntax. It works the same. This is just the way like modern JavaScript is written, and you will see in different codes like similar thing written, like just like this. If you can't read it on one screen like me, you can actually just put this in a new line without any problem, and you can also put this in your line without any problem if you can't read it easily. Remember, statement ends when you write this semicolon. If you don't write it, the statements can end or can't end to the end. So remember that. You can see that I forgot to put somewhere, and it auto-completed me in the browser. So let's try this. Does it work? Yeah. Yeah, we have a list of Pokemon. And if you can see that, it's about 20 lines of code, but you have a little bit more here. And it's about like 100 lines of CSS. Yeah, we can delete like half of this CSS and it will work fine. But something like this, it's easy to create, it's effective. You can see that is nice. If you show someone that you've done this, they will probably say that's pretty nice, yeah? But what about searching? So the feature that didn't work in production because reasons, we can do that. So for searching, we can write a part of the name of Pokemon, and it will filter everything. So how to filter the Pokemons? There is an easy way and a hard way. The easier is always the better. So the hard way would be we get all these Pokemon, we delete every element, and then re-render it. So we create again, we go through the whole for each, but this time filtered. The second way is just to put on each this Pokemon element, display equals none. Or not the image, excuse me, on the Pokemon element. Just display equals none. If you put display equals none, it actually disappears from our list. Let's try it with Magnemite? How is it called? Magnemite. Okay. We can go here to our CSS part and just write out not name but display. And when we search for Magnemite, it doesn't exist here. Yeah, so they were between Slowbro and Magneton. So it's actually, you can try it, display equals none. I think Danica showed displayed inline block or something like that. Display none is just, it doesn't exist. Like at least it doesn't renders in our browser. So what we can do here is we will get our Pokemons that are that have their name similar or exact to the string that we written in there, and then we just set display none to others. We can do it like that. Yeah. So let's do it. So we need actually something here. We need to set up our search box. So let's do that. So for our search box, we will need some input, like search element. Maybe it's better to write that in HTML and then just put some function that happens every time we type something in there. So maybe let's try it here. So let's write an input here. So we don't write a lot of like JavaScript append childs because they're quite slow for a browser, and we already have like 109 different elements, just Pokemon elements, and then 109 images and so on. Oh, and it should be type text, and also class, let's say search text, search text class. This way of writing classes is called kebab case because they're like stabbed with a skewered, like true, and it's pretty popular for writing your CSS classes. Also, what we need to put here is actually like an icon. I will use an emoji just for easy, so we can see. If we put it like this, my CSS actually takes over, and you can see it looks pretty nice. Just remember to use classes like mine, and it will work out of the box. So what we need here is every time we write something, it filters automatically. So on each character we enter here, it should write out something. So let's try to write this. So what we need to do? So we need some function that actually filters our. So let's say filter Pokemon list function that gets text from our input, and that does something with that. Let's make it just a console log everything now. So console log text. After that, what we need is actually get our search text and actually so every time a character enters in there, we should put some function in there, so it can be passed every time we press a button. It will call some function in there. So this filter Pokemon list, what will we do? Oh, my camera just died on me. Great. Okay, doesn't matter. So what we can do today are just like technical issues after technical issues, so good thing to be here. Okay, so what we have here is just a filter function. What we need to create is actually we need to get our search text. So let's say search text element equal to document.query selector search text, and then search text element on, let's go through our own here. There are a lot of them. Let's go to MDN to double check everything. So MDN, and let's say on key. Oh, doesn't say anything. Great. Let's try to write on key press. Okay, there's something on key press. Oh no, it's deprecated. Deprecated means actually that it's not used anymore, and at least it's not recommended to be used anymore. So, okay, what's the difference? What's like alternatives? Alternatives is written here is on key down. So what is on key down? On key down is actually every time we press a button. So every time we press a button, on key down gets. So every time we press. So I'm just pressing a button and not releasing, and every time I press a button, it actually gets what key are we doing. What we actually need is over here the key up. So every time we remove our, you can see, every time we remove our finger from the button, it actually goes somewhere. We will not get only the last key that we pressed, we will also get the whole input in our text box. So if somebody is trying to do something like this, like multiple A's, it will trigger only when we release our key. So we need on key up. So let's try that. On key up. Again, we can write everything in Lambda. We need just it to console log event. So remember, every time we put some function to our we set the value of some handler, like on key up, actually passes an event to our function. We will talk more about events. They are quite hard to understand, but for now we can just print out the event. Let's try it. Let's go here, let's F5. Oh no, what I have done here. Search text on key up. What's the problem here? Oh, I am at total, yeah. It's written like this. We need to set the value of on key up. So this is our function and we pass the value to on key up. So don't be like fast and don't think like me. Just try to think about stuff when you write it. Okay, let's try it. Okay, let's say, yeah, bulb. Okay. Every time we press a button, it does something. Okay, let's try to refresh this and press only B. So what we have here, there is something called key, some code key, but what also it has in there is this target. And on target we have value, and the value is B. So the target is actually the element that are we looking here, the search box. And from value we can get the whole string in there. So let's try to just write here like event.target.value. And let's see what will be printed out here. Oh, sorry, I am really fast about this. I'll paste it so it will be easier for you. So let's try. Okay. You see that we are getting every string when we try to, yeah. For every press of the button, for every time we key up, it's written, we will get the string from our input. If you try to do with the key down, we will actually get before there is any character added to our search box, and it doesn't work. Key up is better for in this example. On most other examples, key down is much better. Yeah, but okay, so we have text. What we can do here is actually just call our filter text. Filter Pokemon or Pokemon list with event target value. So again, let's try it. It actually says bulb. Great. So what we need to do here is get our list of Pokemon and then we need to do some filtering around them. Let's first do, I don't know, every time we press a key or we on key up on a search text, let's set all our Pokemon elements to display none. Let's do it that first, okay? Let's try to create a const, let's say Pokemon element list, or Pokemon element array, maybe better, and say document query selector all dot Pokemon. So what this does is actually we will get all the elements from our Pokemon. Let's try to console log this just so we can see that it works properly. So it's query selector all Pokemon, and then we console log that array. So refresh. Yeah, we are getting the whole, yeah, there's a lot of Pokemons here, or Pokemon. I must remember the Pokemon means plural and singular also. It's the same as singular and plural. Okay, we got the whole Pokemon element array. What we can do now is, again, similar thing that we've done before, is Pokemon for each p dot display, right? Dot, not display, style, right? Style display equals to none. Am I mistaken about this? It should be something like this. Let me try it then. If I'm wrong somewhere, we can. Yeah, it works fine. So every time we write something in our text box, actually everything, every Pokemon element is set to display none. And we can restart. We need to refresh the whole page to see Pokemon elements again. So yeah, this is quite nice. Now what we need to do is actually we need to filter our Pokemon element array list with something. So what's the easier way to get so what's the problem here? We need to get the name of our Pokemon. So there are multiple ways we can get this. The first way is we can actually parse each Pokemon element, and then we get the span. So if we can see here, we can get this element, then we can get the span from here and get the name, then search our array by name. This is really bad. It will be really slow. We need to search a whole Pokemon array to find one Pokemon that's called Bulbasaur. The alternative to do here is actually something that we've done like on the first or second lecture, and if you remember the dataset part. So actually we can set our data to something, and then we can get that we can get that from our Pokemon element array. Remember, if we set something like this, I don't know, div class, yeah, here we can put actually an attribute here. I can write it like this, and we can say data ID equals to 0. And we can pass that attribute to the dataset, and we can get it through calling .dataset.id. And that's quite okay. But there is even easier way of doing this. Actually, if you remember, in for each, there is something called index. There is exactly 809 Pokemons in there in our element array, and also there's 809 of those in our array. So each index will represent one Pokemon in our array. So there are multiple ways of writing this, and there are like no right way, like right or wrong way of writing this. This is just like what's easier for you. What's the first thing that you remember, or what's the first thing that falls up on your mind? It's just simple as this. There are no like wrong answers here. We can do it like every way that we want. So not index here. Sorry, I'm not thinking index here. So actually, what we can do is actually see that there is something index in here. So every time we filter, every time we map, we can get this index, and this index will represent the Pokemon in our array. Okay, so let's try and see what we'll need to do. So in here, what we'll need to do is actually create some array called filter by name. So this array will be all our Pokemon that have in their name our string or our text parameter that we are passed here. After that, we need to set, so filter by name, we need to set each of these, let me think about it. Okay, so we need to set every filter by name element in here to p.style display equals to this one. So this way we will restart our styling, and we will set our display to the default one. In this example, it will be, I don't know, let's double check this. The display will be flex. So okay, we'll talk about in the future what's flex. It's similar to block. It just works on different sizes of our screens differently. So okay, and if there are not on filter name array, we should probably put them. We should set their display to none. How to put that on none? We actually need to see if we should filter this one, and we should filter them. So if there is something, some element, some item in this array, if it exists in this array and in this array, we should probably filter it out. So if in our filter function, if filter by name array includes p, it should probably fail. So we should get like not filter by name includes p. If filter by name doesn't include p, it should be passed to the for each part. I will copy paste this. So let me go through this again. So filter by name, we will get all our Pokemons that have the text string in their name. For each filter by name element in here, we should actually put display to empty string. That's like restarting our display. And our Pokemon element array, we should filter. So if the P, our Pokemon element array item, or if our filter by name array doesn't include our Pokemon element array item, it should be passed to our for each, and then our display should be none. So let's try this to run. What should probably happen here? Every time we write something, everything should. I have an error here. Let me double check what's the problem here. Pokemon element array dot filter. Oh, right. I forgot to tell you something. And that is the query selector doesn't return an array, but it returns some other object in there, some other type of list. So let me just ignore everything and write this out like this and try to run it. I will show you the code, just double check everything. Yeah, it works. So we can also write it like this. This actually transforms, I presume you should be right like this. No, it doesn't work like this. It works like this. So this way we actually transform a list to an array. These triple dots are called deconstructor. So you can deconstruct anything and you can then put it inside of array and you will get a new array. We will talk about this in our future lecture, or maybe the lecture after this. We will talk about this on Tuesday. So just take it as a face value now, and we'll talk about this more on the next lecture. I totally forgot about this. So remember, this is the way you can transform your document query selector all to an array. It's just a really strange syntax with triple dots. There are probably, like, maybe there is something more simpler. How about to array? No, that doesn't exist. Okay, this is the easiest way to transform it. Okay. I'm really sorry about this. I now remember that on production I went around this issue by writing something different. But okay, you can understand that this is just a transformation. Okay, so we need to do this part. So filtered by name. Okay. So let's try to write this out. Pokemon element array dot filter. So we need to filter the text here. So first what we need to do is actually get p and index. We can say p and I. So p is the Pokemon, I is the index. It will be easier to read because it will be shorter. We need to return here some truthful statement. So we can use includes. So if our name includes the text, we should pass it and say that's we should pass that element or item to the new array, right? So let's think about it. So we have Pokemon. Pokemon is our giant array. So I is the index of our Pokemon here. Dot name dot English, right? Includes text. Oh, there is no. Okay. Something like this. Let's try it out. Maybe it works. So filtered by name array is Pokemon element array dot filter, where not Pokemon. What's wrong with here? No, it's perfectly fine. P is the element, I is the index, right? So Pokemon on this index should include text. Yeah. Let's try this. Yeah, it works perfectly. Yeah, it works perfectly. Yeah. So Pokemon name in English includes text. We can try, but there is one problem that I see here. That is this. Okay, Bulb returns Bulbasaur, but Bulb doesn't return Bulbasaur because it's case sensitive. So you can see this name here has uppercase, and we are searching with lowercase, and this is an issue here. So the best way we can fix this is actually to transform the English here, this part and this part, to lowercase, And it's really easy in JavaScript to do this. Just say dot to lowercase. So transform everything to lowercase, and then we can much easier compare those two values. Or we can see if the lowercase text is included into our Pokemon name English to lowercase. So let's try. Again, pipelines, yeah, it works. So this is another example of just like pipelining methods and different things, similar to map and reduce or filter for each part, right? It's quite nice. Okay. So what we've done here is actually we fixed our search bar and we can search things. So yeah, it works pretty much. Yeah, it works okay. It's fast. You can see that yeah, that's great. So it's 50 minutes until the end. Are there any questions? I will start writing the last part for our example here. So you can complete that. So the last feature, if you remember, the last feature was every time we click on a Pokemon, it actually opens a new a new HTML page there where there are details of our Pokemon. Remember, through the query selector. So I'll start writing the comments here, and then I will push everything that we have here so you can get it through the GitHub. So you can start working here. So what we need to do first, we need to create another HTML page. I will call it details.html here. Then what we need to do is actually in detail, we need here to include in HTML comments are written like this. We need to include data.js. We need to include new details.js. I'll write out. So any questions, just ask me and I will explain or show you the code here. So I'm trying to write out what you need to do. Include also, you can copy head from index.html. Also, what we need to do is actually create a wrapper called details wrapper, not only called but with class. Okay. And now on this part of code, what we need to do to finish that? Actually, we need to have our div change to an anchor here, and we should probably, because we need to link to the other details HTML page. Here we need to set Pokemon element.ref to something similar to what you need to set. We need to set it to the details details HTML. So it should be something like something to this. Something like this. So in our search parameter, we will have like a number of our Pokemon in array, like what's the position of our Pokemon in the Pokemon array. And what we also need to do in details here, we will need to, okay, let's start. We need to get URL params from URL. So that's our Pokemon here. Get our chosen Pokemon. And then we need to create the number element, create our Pokemon image, create our Pokemon name, and afterwards we need to create, our types. Create the Pokemon types, and then we should create stats. Number element could be used with class number, with class, no, we don't need a class for image, but with class name, with class types. Example, we can write it like this, something like this. And create stats with class stats. And that's about it. That's about it, what we need to do for details page to be working. It's about 45 minutes our task, so don't worry if you are if something's not working or something like that. Let me just double check if that's everything. So for our thirst, why don't I have my Pokemon project? Oh, great. Let me get something changed, and now it doesn't work. Let me get the link to the okay. Okay, this one. I will paste it. So on this link, you will see my complete solution with the click. Okay, so there is a number here. There is a Pokemon here. I will paste it somewhere so you can see it. See the example. So here is a Pokemon. Here is the number of the Pokemon, the name, types of Pokemon, and the stats. So every Pokemon that we click on, we will get a details page shown here. Yeah, and that's about it. If you need any help with that, you can always get me during the weekend also. So yeah, I can help you by doing this. I will really advise you to complete this completely and to try to do something on your own, because that's quite important for your coding skills and your conceptual skills also, for understanding what's the task and what will need to be done. Yeah. So I will push everything to this. So project, and you will see that if I wait a little bit, the code will be shown on GitHub. Refresh. Oh, see, latest commit 16 seconds ago. So you can see here in Pokemon projects folder, there is everything that I've written here. So there is script.js and everything in there, and you can download that project, download zip or git pull it. So everything I wrote today you will see in the GitHub project. So any questions, guys? Let me see what's happening. So okay, maybe you are playbacking or something like that, so you don't see me talking or hear me talking. I'll wait for a little bit. So had any one of you completed the task from week before? If somebody have, you can contact me. And if you have any problems with your coding, like on tasks or any coding you do, you can always ask me. I'm at your disposal. Okay. No questions, nothing? You're all still watching my tries to code properly, right? Okay. So yeah, I'm alone at my office at the moment. Rhea is not, my assistant Rhea is not here. She's doing cat stuff somewhere else. So yeah, okay. Okay, so Toril has a question about scope. Okay, yeah, ask away. What's the question? For me to explain the scope or something else? Okay, so yeah, so actually it's included here. So it's included in index.html, yeah. So scripts in HTML pages are read like one after another. So you actually, what you do, what data does is actually it puts color and Pokemon into the global variable scope. So it's in global scope. So you can get colors and Pokemon from anywhere, from anywhere else. And script.js, yeah, because it's a global scope. So on the next lecture, we will be doing right that. So how to include and how to create something called modules inside your JavaScript code. So when you define something in the global scope, actually you can get it from anywhere. So without any problem, you can get it from any other script on your HTML page, or you can get it, yeah, from any other script. So that's the same things I will show you some now. So having two scripts like included to the HTML one after another is the same of me writing const a is 3 and after that a plus 2. So you can, those two lines of code, those two statements, you can include in different scripts and it will work without any problem because they are defined in a global scope. If they are defined inside of some brackets from anywhere within your HTML page, so you can all scripts are included to the HTML page. So anything that's included to the HTML page can get to the global scope. So what I can show you is I can write a quick like HTML page here. So let's say page HTML, we put something called i.js, and then we put something called console.js. What we do in i.js, we can put I is 3. In console, we can say console log I. Let me copy this so I'll be quicker. Pokemon project. In page HTML, what we can do here, we can delete everything here. We don't need anything of that. We can put i.js and console.js in here. So i.js sets our I to 3, and console can just console logs that I. We will open this page HTML. Let me open it here. Let's open our inspect. It says error file not load. What's going on? Console, I wrote console.js. That's the problem. And refresh. We can see console says 3. So our HTML sets the global scope, or so global scope is actually set in window here, right? If I remember correctly. Let me double check that if that's no, it's actually in global. There are different things. So here is the I'm not sure where is that set. So global is probably node.js in let me global. This is a window actually. Okay, it doesn't matter, but it's set globally. So from any script that's included into our HTML page, we can get that I if it's set globally. If it's inside some bracket or something like that, it can be like, so we can get here. So inside of brackets, we can get the I. So it works properly. But if we set something inside of brackets, say let's lay a equals 3, we can get that a. Let's try it. Yeah, a is not defined because it's in a different scope. It's yeah. So remember the HTML is our scope actually. If you define globally, it's defined in the whole HTML. So from every script from our console, we can get that. As you can see in my example that I've passed you here. Let me open this. Go to Pokemon project. In console, we can get Pokemon. We can also get, I'm not sure what variable we passed. Let me double check it. There is some variable here inside our script.js. There we put get background. So let's see, we can call get background from the other. So we can say background grass. Yeah. So we called the Pokemon from one JS file and get background from the other JS file. The only thing that you need to worry about is that they are, so data.js doesn't call anything from script.js because they're read and run one after another. So data.js is read and run, then script.js is read and run. So just don't try to not call something from script.js inside of data.js. If you do that, and I can show you with the examples that I put here, you will get, let me see, yeah, refresh. Oh, this is the, I need to open this page. You see, you will get an error. It's called uncaught reference error. So because get background at the point where data.js is run, there is the script.js hasn't been started to be read, and that's the problem. Okay. Yeah, scopes are kinda they're kind of difficult to understand inside the JavaScript, but once you get hang of those, they are kind of like, you don't even think about those. We will do more about scopes with our classes, because there is something that's called this and this is usable in classes. It's usable also in functions, but it's like devised. It's really hard to use it in classes. So this presents like, what are we talking about? Like inside the function, this is like the thing that we're talking about. You will see during the classes. It's really not a fun part of JavaScript. Yeah. And that's about it. So guys, see you on Tuesday. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. See ya, guys.